Welcome, brothers. I'm JK Emezi, head coach and founder of Elevated Recovery and the Porn Reboot System. Listen, if you enjoy these videos, if you find them helpful, if you find them educational, please go ahead and like this video, subscribe, and when you do, click on that little bell icon so that you receive notifications each time I release a video. I release videos 4 times a week, every single week. On to the topic of today. Now, when it comes to traditional recovery, I call it the trifecta. When it comes to religious approaches to ending addiction or out of control behaviors, 12 steps and therapy, I think that they work for different people based on your personality, your culture, your upbringing, maybe even your religion, and also your own personal needs. And they all have their benefits. However, all 3 of them have a tendency to create obstacles where, in my professional opinion, and I've been doing this for about 10 years now, in my professional opinion, there don't need to be any obstacles there. And today I'm going to share something with you about triggers. Pay attention because this is a very subtle difference, but it makes a huge impact on your reboot. A lot of guys have this belief that when they're addicted to pornography, or when they admit that, I might have a problem with this, I might have a compulsive behavior, the moment you admit that to yourself, that there's nothing wrong with that, something kicks in from our culture subconsciously, which you might not be aware of. And that is the belief of what addiction should be. And while consciously you might not identify as an addict, you're like, yeah, I'm just a guy who has a dependence on pornography or masturbate a little bit more than I should. The moment you admit that, a few things happen. One of the beliefs that you may have is like, you know what, bro, I'm at a point where if I were to see like a naked image of a woman in the middle of the day, right, while I was browsing through something, or while I was on my phone, or a woman who had a certain type of body, I have no choice. I will be triggered and I will have this uncontrollable urge to masturbate or view pornography or chase that at some point. That is the actual belief. Now, while it is true to a certain extent that you could be triggered by something, while it is true that there's a biochemical reaction which actually takes place, the part of this which isn't really accurate and which creates an obstacle for you is the belief that you have no control over this. And the reason you have that belief is because you have, number one, been through that cycle over and over again, but that's not enough. There has to be a second part to it for you to have that belief. The second part is the belief that when you have a compulsive behavior, or when you are a quote-unquote addict, you have no choice. That there is an aspect of you that makes this uncontrollable. And each time you go through that biochemical reaction, when you are triggered, it deepens the belief that you have absolutely no control over this. That is actually one of the things that is happening with a lot of men that they are not aware of. Let me ask you something. What if you came to the realization that you actually prefer not to view pornography than to be addicted to it? Again, you came to the realization that you actually have a personal preference in general not to view pornography versus being addicted to it. If you realize that, there would be nothing to be triggered by. Think about it. If you realize that, I don't even like watching pornography. It does nothing for me. Like, you actually believe that. It does nothing for me. Versus being addicted. You chose that. How would you be triggered? If we use the example of you, like, stealing something, right? And let's say you're not a person who steals. And you're just like, I don't like stealing stuff because each time I steal stuff, I end up in jail. I end up in trouble. So it's just not my thing, right? It's just not worth it for me. Would you keep doing it? Would you be triggered to engage in that behavior? I want you to think about this deeply. This is just a thought exercise that will not benefit all of you. Some of you will not be able to snap out of it, and some of you really believe that, man, this is compulsive, this is based on this and this and this, that's fine. You can ignore this, you can stop watching the video here. But for some of you, this is very important. Pornography addiction is a real thing. Sexually compulsive disorders, these are absolutely real. However, your response to it is 100% your choice. And this is the belief that you need to change. That your response is 100% within your power. And this is one of the first things that we teach you in the Porn Reboot system. And the moment that you gain that ability, you realize that you are the expert at yourself. You realize that within you, you always had what it took. But we just live in a society that has already planted seeds for you to believe certain things about addictive behavior prior to you getting addicted. And of course, as you go through the biochemical process of slipping and relapsing, it reinforces that belief that was planted as a seed. That, yeah, this is just happening, it's totally out of your control, there's nothing that you can do about it. One of the reasons why I use the word addiction and I use the word out of control behavior, unfortunately, is because it's the only way that most men will grasp this. Most men are just not going to accept the fact that it is within their control. They have to hear your out of control sexual behavior. They have to hear your porn addiction before they agree that there's a problem. A lot of times people go like, JK, how is it possible that for 10 years you've helped people end this behavior in 90 days? How the heck does that even happen? It happens because we are focusing on your habits, not just your physical habits, but your thinking habits. And then we change your lifestyle, and finally we change your self-image. That's it. That's all we do. And when you work on it in that way, this is how you permanently free yourself from what you consider to be something which is out of control. So long story short, brothers, this is absolutely within your control. I'd like to hear some of your thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below. Whenever you're ready, here are 4 ways that Porn Reboot can help you out for free. The first way is to subscribe to our channel and make sure you click on the notification bell to get a new video every other day. The second way is to get a copy of the free book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men. You'll learn about my personal struggle and the lessons I've learned over a decade, as well as strategies for putting together your porn reboot plan and ending your compulsive behavior with pornography or masturbation. So click on the link in the description below this video. The third way is if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals, entrepreneurs, business owners, guys who work in sales, consulting, or high-level jobs, men who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's also a link to join in the description below this video. And finally, if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, you want to be an authentic man and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, click on the link in the description below this video that says free coaching call, or visit elevatedrecovery.org and click on the link which says book a call.